you already guys talked. You described what you think live service is in your own personal view. I agree with both of you, but at the same time, I'll kind of go on the opposite direction just for the sake of argument. Just because I kind of see the positives in live services. It's not only drip feeding, all the negative stuff and everything. I kind of see the positives in the live service because it encourages the players to be more engaged with the games, and it kind of makes the games to survive. Well, maybe not, but it maybe not like make them survive longer, but it does like give some sort of like a different purpose for the game, and it gives some sort of like, what's the word I'm probably looking for? Not engagement, more like, I don't really know how to describe it, but the way I see it, the problem I had with back in season passes, for example, your Battlefield Premiums, for example, I always had a problem that maps are locked behind a paywall, and the guns including. So I'll like, let's say, hey, Ray, you know my friend Gian, right?
Yeah.
He never had premium whatsoever. So when we like want to play together, he never had premium. So we only had to look for vanilla servers, and sometimes it was difficult to find vanilla servers because everyone like either has premium servers running or just vanilla map on like one vanilla map on the server or something like that. So it wasn't like a regular vanilla experience you can get on the servers because it was like communities running the servers and everything. So it was a bit difficult to find servers for us to play together that has a variety of all the game can offer without the premiums. So that was my problem with premium and the season passes in general. Call of Duty, for example, 2, back in the day, they were locking maps and guns behind a paywall, and I hated that. That literally splitted the player base to different levels, and I don't think it was sustainable. I think someone from DICE also said that there's like 5% of the player base owned premium for Battlefield 1. So can you imagine like making premium, like you have premium service, right? You pay like $50 and you release like what, 16 maps, 20, can't remember, but no one's playing it. Less than 5% of player base is playing that content. So I can see why season passes are not that great, or why it's not really that good a business model. But then again, I never had a problem with season passes as long as the maps and guns are free.
Then there's no point in having a season pass if the maps and guns are free.
True, but
Because what else are you going to include with the season pass?
yeah, it depends what you include with the season pass, and that's why. But Fortnite, for example, look at it. It has no season pass. Like it has like that battle pass, right? But
yeah,
it has no
option. You can buy it or not. Yeah.
I think it's all about what your game can offer. Call of Duty doesn't have a season pass anymore, but it has a battle pass or whatever. Even though it's called, I can't remember. Is it season? Is it battle pass? I think it's called battle pass. I can't remember.
Pass.
Yeah, and maps are free, guns are free, and Rainbow Six Siege had a still has season passes. Still has. On top of you still can pay for this battle pass, which is quite ridiculous if you ask me. Now that's where we get the ridiculous level. You have the season pass and the battle pass.
Their season passes, I think, just reduces the price of the characters and.
Yeah, but it depends on the game. I think you can find enough content to justify a season pass without locking the maps and guns.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's a single player game, but then again, who single player games normally are not live services because it doesn't have that multiplayer engagement. Although I don't know, are there any single player games that have like some sort of live service that funds the game for more content? I can't really name one.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no single player game that can actually do that. Yeah, I don't mind season passes as long as they don't lock maps and guns. Of course, like you said. What's the point? What's the purpose of the season pass? Well,
did Horizon Zero Dawn have a season pass or
did it?
DLC?
I can't remember though. I don't even remember having DLC in general.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe it was like, maybe I don't remember. I need to double check.
Do you guys ever get this weird, like, kind of tingly sensation feeling when you look at a game's monetization and you go, "Are they desperate for money?"
Could be,
look
yes,
at Battlefield.
sometimes, yeah.
Like, not that I want to beat on the Battlefield horse more, but look at the monetization for Battlefield right now. Okay, they've got the whole Battle Pass thing, which is free, but
you can buy tiers.
You can buy tiers. You can buy premium currency. They've
elites.
Pretty much just anything, everything that they could like package and sell. They're selling, and I kind of look at that and go, EA, you guys guys hurting for some money there? Is everything all right? Everything okay over there? Guys want a hug? I get that again. I get that they need to make more money. It's the point of being in a business is to make the money. It's a fact. But the more you sell individually and differently, the more desperate the scheme comes off as, and it's kind of a turnoff to me.
I mean, yeah, I kind of see your point in that. I agree. Certain games,
They go to that extreme, and it almost just seems desperate.
Well, here's the thing with Battlefield 5, for example. You have those elite skins or whatever, elite characters, and they're just literally cosmetics, which is fine. But then you like look at what the state of the game is. I mean, if you enjoy Battlefield 5, God bless you, you have all the right to enjoy it. But I personally don't enjoy Battlefield 5 that much, just because of all the problems that are around the game, and I just don't find it interesting or fun. So all the cosmetics that they're like what, 20, 15 bucks for a like elite skin or something like that. I'm like, no, I just it doesn't justify the price for me.
And those are locked to like certain factions too, some of them. So it's not like you can even have your elite skin on every single map that you play.
Yeah.
To me, that's kind of like, what's the point? You know, if I want something that I got to go out of my way and buy, I better be able to use that across all of the maps.
Yeah, use it whenever you want.
Exactly. That's the point of me wanting to buy it. And again, it just kind of seems desperate.
Here's the thing. This is why like I don't really mind all your live services, because it doesn't split the player base and keeps everyone in equal terms, which is great.
Yeah, that point I will not argue.
I will not. I will. That's why like that's why like I'm okay with a bit of drip feeding or something. Okay, regarding there's a myth that there's, well, I don't know if it's a myth or not, but I can understand from the developer's point of view how it works, why it's not a myth. Drip feeding content on a live service game, I don't know if it's actually drip feeding or there's actually not enough time to literally finish either the content, because live service demands a bit of different type of developer group or whatever. It has, I think, I don't know how to describe it.
I can kind of give you a little bit of insight on that.
Yeah, I just don't think. Yeah, just gonna finish this. I just don't think developers are drip feeding on purpose. That's what I'm saying.
Not all of them are. It comes into they do the roadmap behind the scenes. They plan what they want to do as far as content goes. But for some companies, at least, as far as some of the ones that I've interacted with, they do like a tier-based system. If we bring in this much money, it will cover the expenses in order to do this, hypothetically. All on paper, of course, pending nothing goes wrong. So it's not this whole ideal that they make everything all at one shot and then divvy it up after the fact. That stuff doesn't come half the time unless the money is made the first time around. You get what I mean? So if the money's not brought in order to further fund it, the content doesn't get made. So that's why I can see where some people would say it feels like a purpose drip feed. And you can kind of describe it like that, but it's not like in a nefarious method like how some people would put it. It is a matter of budgeting.
It just doesn't. It will just not justify spending money on making more content if no one's gonna use that content.
Yeah, if nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah, makes sense, total sense. Business-wise, you don't want to find something that will not make you money. That's just simple, basic.
What they'll do is they'll go to like a content tier, and when they get to a certain point, then go, okay, well, we can fund this, and this, preventing nothing goes wrong with it. If anything goes wrong on the back end as far as testing or QA goes, then we'll either invest a little bit more money to finish it or just outright dump it and move it to the next tier, provided it makes money off of this one. You kind of get what I mean? It's kind of like a weird tier system where the previous tier has to make the money back in order to justify the next one.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Although I'm always curious, like, what was Battlefield 5, for example, was thinking? What kind of live service they gonna have? Well, it could be, that's what maybe will happen. Maybe because it sold below expectations. Maybe that's
why.
Yeah.
Publishers like to throw that term around a lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
really,
they love that
almost
term.
nowadays doesn't mean much.
Yeah, so maybe because it was sold below expectations, even though when I was working at Sony, game was selling fine. But whatever, I'm no business expert. I don't work at EA. I don't know. Maybe that's why they're like, well, there's no real point making XML maps if the game didn't make the money back. So I can see that. And that's why maybe like people like bitching like, oh, we get more elite skins than the actual map content, and that's why. But what I hate most about it though is the game itself is not designed around that live service, which breaks my heart. Maybe that's why I have so many problems with Battlefield 5. It's not the problem with maybe the actual game, but the way they approach the live service, I think is the most. It's really amateurish from my point of view.
See, what bothers me is that they keep adding these elites and stuff, but
But people
like
buy them, I guess.
they're slowly updating and fixing the game, but they're still expecting people to buy stuff.
Yeah, and that's a big no-no.
So why would you want to continue buying stuff and supporting the game if they're just slowly fixing bugs and issues and making adjustments and stuff?
And you know the worst part about it? DLC and pass sales and premium content, stuff like that, that's actually going to fund more back-end work. That's another thing that some people don't seem to realize is that DLC sales and everything after initial sales, that also goes in to help with back-end support. It's kind of like a weird double-edged sword. Yeah, no, I don't want to buy the content if the game is broken, but at the same time, if the content doesn't get bought, there's no money put into the work in order to get the game fixed. But I go right back to the beginning on my soapbox and go, should have made it work right in the first place.
Well, it was rushed to begin with, so.
Oh yeah, there's no arguing that.
Yeah, I think Battlefield 5 is the wrong game for their live service experiment. I mean, maybe they can learn all these lessons for the next game. Maybe we can only hope.
Honestly, what they should have done.
Yeah, we can only hope.
They had something semi-palpable and decent with BF1. They should have just taken a look at that and went, all right, well, instead of rushing out the next iteration, let's do what they basically did with BF4. Fine-tune it a little bit more, throw a little bit more content out there for a little bit extra money, not going to cost a whole hell of a lot, some extra guns, stuff that's not easy to throw together and make. Because there's a huge difference between making a map and making a gun. An immense amount of difference, especially on the QA end of it. So what they could have done was drip feed a little bit more content to BF1. Let it run for another maybe year or two. Get the basic meta game nailed down once and for all. Then move into the next iteration so that this whole 5.2 madness doesn't happen. Or alternatively, you could do like you did with BF4 and have this whole community testing environment where, patches and stuff get tested beforehand. It's a brilliant idea, guys. I gotta give it to you now. So, it's not rocket science.
Your hands upon a dead man's gun and you're looking down the sights. Your heart is warm and the seams are torn.